On this episode of Mad Ginger Customs, we're going to finally get a wiring harness in this shoebox. Now, it's a universal wiring harness from Amazon. Don't get excited. We may burn it to the ground. We are also going to get a fuel system in it with a fuel cell. And we're also getting a seat. Mount it up. Let's go. Hey, real quick. The guy who won the Art Captain welding glove giveaway, his screen name is, I'm not making this up, A Guy with Wood. So we've reached out to him. He has not reached out back. Gonna give you another 2 weeks, buddy, and then we're gonna pick another winner on those Art Captain welding gloves. So A Guy with Wood, reach out to us, please. We sent you the information. Let me know. I'd love to get you your gloves. Thanks. Well, guys, I have a pile of wires, connectors, devices, electronic things. I'm trying to be able to just get in this car, turn the ignition, and drive away, which I can't do yet because I got a fuel pump mounted to a gas tank, running to some alligator wires, and running jumping power to the battery. I'm done with this. This car is a 6-volt positive ground car. We are gonna convert that to a 12-volt negative ground, but we're not gonna incorporate everything they normally do. I don't care about the factory gauges. They're not gonna read, and they're not gonna be any good. All the wiring in this car is absolutely garbage. If we use the factory wiring, we will burn this car to the ground. So I'm going to show you what I got. I bought this cheapo. It's from the Jungle Lady. I don't know. I think this thing was like 30 bucks or 40 bucks. Now, I also got a 12-volt coil, and I wrote on it, no resistor needed, so we don't need a resistor, which I'm hoping. I got a 12-volt solenoid. I got a 12-volt electric fuel pump to put back here with the fuel cell. We'll mount it all up. That's a whole different situation. I got a GM one-wire alternator. It's chrome, so it probably won't work. I bought these like the solder stick kind of things here. You're supposed to be able to heat them up in the middle, and they're supposed to melt and solder. I don't know how well these things work. I don't think they work at all, but I saw them. I figure some cheapo strippers. I mean, obviously I have I'm a service tech, so I have real strippers, but this might be easier. And then I got an alternator bracket for a shoebox, for a flathead Ford. It's supposed to mount a GM alternator. Well, that's nice. It doesn't come with any bolts. What the? I guess they're going to find some bolts for that. And I said I needed this pulley, but I'm not sure I need it. But it says flathead on it, so I don't know. Whatever. I got it. And then I got 700 feet of wire. All the wiring is bad. We got to pull the regulator out. I have no idea what that does. Some type of relay. And then everything to the front of the car is just absolutely useless. So we got to cut all this crap out. So before we get going with mounting everything, I'm going to preemptively rip all that crap out. You guys don't need to watch that. It's super boring. I'm going to come back to you when we start splitting up that harness and what we're going to pull through the firewall and we're going to push back. All right, guys, when you're pulling all this wiring out, you got this giant bundle, it's all taped up. So what you want to do is just ignore that. Just ignore the tape and just go right in like a savage and just eliminate everything in here. And there you go. And that way you can just pull everything out and then push it back through. And that way, I don't want to say it's a guessing game, but who doesn't love a mystery? I don't even see this one down here. I don't know where this goes. And I'm just gonna cut it off. Boom. All set. That's how we do it. All right, so sorry if you guys can hear my fan. It's hot out. So this has been edited because almost well, I don't want to say everything on it's wrong, but most of it's wrong. So 8 is parking lights, radio, memory. Or it says PAPK. I don't even know what that means. Maybe parking, but I don't know. It says Papcolat in the radio memory. 11 is to the ignition run. So this is going to be the power for the ignition switch, right? So technically on this, it's going to go to this battery terminal right here. So it's going to come into this unit. It's going to go out on the blue wire, which is a 20 amp fuse. Now, is it supposed to be 20? I don't know. Let's go look here. So this thing is convoluted. Does it matter? Probably not. 11. So you go over here and you say, okay, what is 11? 11. It says it's orange. And then it's ignition run. Terminal 11. Now, I don't know about you, but this terminal right here, right there, this one is blue. So this is all wrong. So you're gonna have to split this whole thing up, cut all this tape off, because some absolute tool built this. This is probably made in China, where all good things are stolen from the ideas of, you know, they steal all their ideas from the US and then they bring it over there and make it cheaper, and then garbage people like me say, oh, I'm gonna buy that off of Amazon and it's cheaper. Well, I probably could have bought this harness for a couple $100 from Shoebox Central. And it's made in the USA, and I probably should just stop this video and do that. But we're already going. So, and I already bought it, and I already spent time. And ain't nobody got time for that. All wired up. Had to add one wire. Then this is for the solenoid, and that'll feed out. We're gonna bundle all that together and run it the same up and out. And we're also gonna run it with these, which is the coil, the battery power. That'll go to one side of the solenoid from the battery, and then the brake switch. So I'm gonna tape all that up and fire it through. I think wiring stuff is kind of boring, guys, but the end result is cool and it's kind of needed. So, you know, if you want me to explain anything to you that you didn't get, or if this was something was hard to follow, just put it in the comments, and I try to answer every question. So if you had a question. I bought an alternator bracket and an alternator pulley from Speedway Motors for a flathead. There's no possibility that this fits this car. I saved you guys the headache of having to watch me grind all this away. But it was hitting the water pump pulley right here. It's obviously not anymore, but I've had that on and off the car more times than I care to admit to you, because this is what happens when you change factory stuff. And if you guys aren't unwilling to modify parts, don't do stuff like this. I mean, you know, I really should have knocked it down further, and maybe, I don't want to trim the alternator because I want to be able to replace it if it, you know, the alternator dies, and be like, if I'm on the side of the road and I'm like, I need an alternator, I don't want to have to be like, oh yeah, I got to cut a 1/4 inch off the thing. You know, you can't do that. So you got to make the brackets fit. But anyway, it's in there, it clears. It barely clears. I mean, it's like that much. Sorry if you hear the fan. It is like 1000% humidity. It's, I'm surprised it's like not actually, I'm surprised I'm not drowning in the air with all the moisture. But it is sweaty, like so hot. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to pull wire today. I'm gonna try to pull everything that comes from the firewall forward. So headlights, high beams, parking lights, maybe a horn wire. I got to run another one back through for the brake switch that's going to go down underneath. I got the wire going over to the distributor. I got to get an 8-gauge wire made to go underneath and around for our 1-wire alternator. I got to get some battery cables, probably already said that. Welcome back to Rat Nest Heaven, which ultimately the car was a rat's nest, and you guys probably saw that if you watched our older videos. So, I got this bundle of wires right here, right? So, what I got in there is a brake, parking light, tail, 2 turn signals. Car doesn't have turn signals, but maybe we'll put them in. And then I got a fuel pump wire, which is a big 10-gauge wire, just in case we like the car and eventually we want to make her spicy. The 10-gauge will help. And then I got a fuel sender. So I currently have a piece of welding wire in here. Say stainless welding wire. And I have that fished down through the windshield because that's how it was when I took it apart. And this is copper clad aluminum wire, which is cheap. It's not good to have in the elements, guys. That stuff breaks down quick. I would not suggest you wiring your car if you're gonna run all the wires on the outside of the car. That stuff degrades really fast. So anyway, I'm gonna try to pull this up through. Maybe I'll set you up so you can watch. Sorry about the fans, it's sweaty. It's sweaty. My brother-in-law Mike would be proud of me if I can actually make this work, because he's an electrician. We're stuck on something. Something, uh-oh. I don't want to pull too hard. Did I lose a wire out of it? Is there a wire still in here? No, there is. Oh, there is wire still in there. That's not good. I think we're stuck on the wire that's in here. Oh, there he goes. There he goes. There it goes. There it goes. Yes. Yes. Kind of got to give a little push and pull. That's it. That's it. That's it. All right, guys. I broke down and bought this universal, like, you know, hot rod blinker switch. So ultimately, what does this thing do, right? It takes power from, this is the return from the brake switch, and that's basically going to put power through this switch all the way to both tail brake lights when the switch is not active. When you activate the switch, it disconnects that power from the one side, and then it puts power to it on through the flasher to the one side of the switch, or the one side of the switch that you choose to go out to the brake lights. So technically my brake lights in the back are green and white, and then my tails are brown. It doesn't matter what color anything is, guys. It's just as long as you know where it goes. So I have my chicken scratch here, and then as long as this is remotely close, this should work, in theory. Alright, so all we did was wire up the sockets in here to accept 1157 bulbs. Probably you can't even see that, guys, but and I just taped this up. So basically I split the tails between here and the other side, and then I ran one blinker to one side, one blinker to the other, and the blinker also runs the brake lights. So that is managed through the switch. So when the switch is at rest, it basically is a pass-through from the brake switch to the stop lights, which is also the blinker filament. Cheap, Chinese. So I had to take everything down, because this thing is defective. Well, guys, these are like heatable solder things. I'll try to zoom in editing. I can't get you real close. So you basically slide one on, and then what I do is I basically twist around themselves, almost like a knot, like this. And then you slide this down, and you want the solder like right where the wires are. And this is not the proper way to do this, but if you're going to use a torch, go super light. And it's already starting to flow in there. That's all you need to do. If you go really heavy with the torch, you will end up just obliterating the covering on this. And the ends, these has a sealant on each side, so it seals this, and they just explode. So obviously heat gun probably preferred. It takes a little bit longer. I was using this little crack torch that you get at like Dollar General, but we're out of gas. So we're going with the MAP gas. She gets after it faster. I don't love this, not at all. I picked a fuel tank that had a sump. That's a mistake. It will not sit flat in here. I've had it for way too long to send back. The only thing I can do is space it up the height of the sump, which is 2 inches. So I just cut some 2-inch rectangular tubing because honestly that's all I got. That is a absolute fire hazard waiting to happen. We got to run our brake signal lines to the brake switch, and then we can put the car back on the ground. But I think what I want to do is put gas in this thing and see if this fuel pump will run. I don't necessarily want to run it dry. This is the type of mess I got going on here. Jeez. So this is our vent line. I actually just put a filter at the bottom of it. This is the finest fuel cell China has to offer. Now I just gotta see if I can find any gas. Guys, throw it in the comments. What are the chances that this car is literally gonna burn to the ground along with my garage? Probably pretty good at this point. There is not a lot of fuel in this, maybe a gallon. I think it'll be enough though. Probably should look to see if it's leaking, but it's a worst case scenario. Eats away all my sweet patina blackout. That would be a tragedy. Love that stuff. All right, I'm gonna go climb into the car. You guys watch over here. And I'll see if we got any leaks. Maybe I should use the torch to find it. Okay. Dry, 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 dry. Awesome. Come with me. Come with me into a world of OSHA violations. Nothing leaking. Yet. Yet is the operable word. This is not great, but that fuel pump is wired up. Oh, we need a booster pack, don't we? Damn it. We're back. Harbor Freight. This thing's been charging. It's still almost dead. All right, here we go. All right. If there's screaming. Oh, I heard it. I hear it. That's loud. Wow. Okay. Let's go up here. Is it full or? Oh, it's got any gas in it. Wow. All right. Man, you think we could try to start it? Man, that pump is loud. I think it was gonna be that loud. All right, well, I guess we could give it a flick. What do you think? Pump it, pumper? Yes! Okay. Ooh, stinky. Man, that thing is loud. That's like a holly blue in the back. All right, let's see if I can do this with one hand. Meter, volts, 12 volts. 12.91, but this battery's technically dead, and this is a one wire, so you got to spin it a little faster before she really kind of gives the juice. But this battery was completely dead. This thing was 9 volts. Well, I got to be honest with you guys. The fact it ran was awesome. So I'm gonna do cleanup work now. I gotta run the wires down to the brake switch, so I have brake lights. That new blinker switch will come in. I'll finish the video when that comes in. Or maybe we'll just bypass it. You know, the car never had blinkers. I said that at the beginning of the video, and I'm like, you know what? I should put blinkers in it. What if Jess ever drove it? You know, I want blinkers in it. And I got the halos, so they would blink and da-da-da-da-da. I know you guys hate those things. Hey, put in the comments, does that ruin a classic car when you put modern components on it? And now, granted, guys, you got to remember, what did we start with? This car came out of a field sat for 50 years, rotted. If you guys, this is your first video with me, go back and watch the videos. 14 hours doing a Willet start. We've put some work into this car. If you like that stuff, like and subscribe. It really helps us out. You know, lets Jess and I know. You know, I know Jess isn't in this one, or probably not. It lets us know you like the videos, and we appreciate you. So I'm gonna keep going, and then we're gonna drive this thing out of the garage, starting with a key, all the lights working, with a new harness in it for the first time in probably 50 some odd years. I have a problem with having a mechanical device beat me. It never sits well. So this switch, the blinker switch, hasn't worked right. Now, I ordered a new one because I'm impatient. But I'm like, you know what? Let me see. I took the flasher out. And what I did was I took this apart. And the disc that engages the arm, you can spin it 180. And I'm like, what if they assembled it incorrectly? Because when you move this, the sliding contacts didn't line up. So I flipped it 180. I reassembled it. And watch this. I mean, obviously, it's not going to blink. But I got a blinker up front. I don't know if you guys can see that. And I got one in the back. And then I got on that side, lights. And you guys can't see the orange, but maybe you can. Is that all it was? I mean, short of they wired the flasher wrong, I got that. I switched those wires immediately. I found that. Is that all it was they assembled it incorrectly? Daytime running lights. I know you guys are going to hate this, but I think it's cool and I like it. And it's modern, but it's an old twist. She's got ominous red halos. Now, you say, Dave, well, what's going to happen when you turn on the blinker? Well, here's what's going to happen. So you're going to do this, turn power on, there's fuel pump. It automatically switches. And then you get your blinker. So I don't know how much of this fender we're going to fix and if we're going to need to, but we don't actually need. And we got taillights with blinkers. The switch does work to disconnect on brake. So you can press the brake. I don't know if you guys can see, that one's lit up over there. The light is pretty bad. And this one is blinking over here. Everything's technically working properly except for this little thing. Can deal with that. This is a win for me. I'm going to bundle it all back up. And I got to mount a seat. Big seat. Seat's like 9,000 pounds. Well, that's about it for the wiring for the dash. That one wire is going to feed the illumination for the gauges. I think I'm going to get a bunch of black loom and just loom that up and tuck it up and then lift it up into the dash. I'm going to pull the dash probably anyway, because the dash needs to be all sanded out and repainted. And I do have a 12 to 6 volt converter, so I think I want to try to get something in there working. I don't know. I don't even know what the point of that would be. If I have 3 gauges down here and mount them, I would love to. I can just put 12 volts of lights in here, and I can use the illumination from the green wire that I brought over. That actually is the illumination. It's from the dash from the light switch. But it all works. I'm not gonna lie to you guys, a lot of that was a struggle because of the stupid turn signal switch. Everything else is pretty straightforward. What do you need to run a hot rod? You know what I mean? Not much, guys. So this seat is really, really heavy because it is it's a power Thunderbird seat. Not even really sure the right height. I asked guys Custom Shoebox to measure how high it was from the floor, because when you put this thing in there, you're like sitting on the floor. It's no good. And guys are saying, you know, 13, 14, something like that. This thing's 9, so if I figure add 4 inches of height, that'd give me 13. And it's a narrow, like a thin seat, so it should be all right. The problem is it's only 9 inches from front to back, and literally as soon as you put it just falls backwards because there's nothing holding it. So I think what I'm going to do is through a 45, this is a piece of 4-inch, I mean it's overkill for what we're doing, but like everything else I tell you, I just use what I have. So if I figure I'm going to cut this, and that'll at least span a little bit, and then I'll have somewhere to screw down, and then I can get bolts up in. I mean, why wouldn't it work? I don't know. Anyway, this saw is awesome. I'll let you see it. In action! Protect your face! Stand to the side of these things, they will mess you up. This is massive tubing, and you're never supposed to cut long way with this. But I don't have a choice because I got to do the 45. But look at this. This is 3/16 wall. This is massive tubing. Look at the chips this thing hucks. So that's my thought right there. It is absolutely overkill, I get it, but that's what I got. And we just use what we have. Anyway, you don't have to watch me cut the other one. I'll drill holes in this thing and we'll try to mount it to the bottom. Off the jack stands. Air in the back and the air shocks. She's still a low girl. Oh, look. We got us a seat. She needs to be cleaned up. So the mounts are actually the perfect height. When you sit in the car, let me see if I can give you a perspective of sitting in the car. Basically, you want your eyes middle of the windshield. This is actually, pedals are good, super comfy. And I'll tell you what, if it's not, the seat is a powered seat. I'm going to show you a trick. Hold please. You can hook this up to like a 3-way switch. Right now this is just like a cheapo 12 volt battery. So, moves forward. Ooh, I'm going to get crushed against the wheel. And then we move backwards. Like that. That's been a long time coming. Now, we can drive it in and out of the garage, off the key, off the tank, fires up, charges, little too much fuel pressure, I think, pushing by the seat. And then we can fix this side. We never touched the passenger side. So we're gonna do the passenger side. Got the seat in there, super comfy. Kind of period correct. She's got tail lips. She's got modern headlights. She's got blinkers. So that's cool. We still gotta tidy up some wires, right? Got do a lot of cable management. Gonna need to do some loom, like above in here. You know, gotta do all that. Fuel pump is pumping. She hums a lot. She doesn't know the words. And we're gonna build this up and build that up across the top. Clean all this up. I still have to replace this part of the floor right here and right there. Then we're gonna scrape it and we're gonna sweep patina the rest of it to match. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode of Mad Ginger Customs. Hit us up in the comments what you want to see in videos. We always love interacting with you guys. We try to respond to every single comment. You could like the video. If you're not subscribed, it would be great if you were. It's free. Just click the subscribe button. You can hit the bell and it'll notify you when we make content. Special shout outs to our Buy Us a Coffee guys. Montgomery again with 5 more coffees. I think that guy's bought 15 coffees altogether. And Clint's a friend of the channel, and he bought 5 cups. So we appreciate you guys. If you like our content, it's an easy way to sponsor a little bit of the videos. There's a Buy Us a Coffee link in the description. You can click that. If you like the products we use in the videos, that Evolution saw or anything, we keep Amazon links in there. It's a good way to support the channel. It'll cost you nothing. If you click on our links, then you go to Amazon. You don't necessarily have to buy that product. You can buy any product. And we get this tiny little percentage of a commission from Amazon. So that helps us out as well. Moving forward, we have the F100 coming up. Bunch of work's going to be done to that. We're going to do an engine swap and a transmission swap, unfortunately, in Jess's red truck. And we're going to do the drop kit in the hot rod ice cream truck. We're going to slam her low. So guys, just remember, I'm just like you guys, right? Backyard mechanic. If you watch me do this, just remember, if I can do this, you can do this. Thanks for watching.